Hello, everyone. Hello. Hiya. Hi.
Hello, Izzy.
Hello. Hi. Um, yeah, okay. So might as well get right into it. Um, well, what these meetings really, all they seem to just suggest, illuminate, or really just say, if you like, is that this is all there is. That's it. It's nothing special. It's nothing spiritual or mystical or mysterious or secretive. It's nothing that is hiding. It's nothing that has to be worked out or that has to be remembered or known or understood. Um, Simply, all that these meetings just suggest and illuminate is that this is all there is, and all there is boundless energy. But again, boundless energy is not a thing, it's not a concept, it's not an idea, it's not an actual happening or whatever. It just isn't a thing in and of itself. But what appears to be happening, we could say, is boundless energy. It's boundlessness, because what appears to be happening just by being itself is naturally boundless. It's naturally free. It's naturally liberated just by being itself. And when this is said, it's nothing other than this. So of course, when it's said that this is it, it's not an actual this. There's not an actual this that is a thing, that is it, that is the truth or whatever, or an actual salient object that stands out from the rest, that is it. No, it's just quite simply that everything that appears to be happening is all there is. But it's an appearance. It just appears to be happening. It's not actually happening. And when that's illuminated, it's just illuminating the very apparent happening that seems to be happening right now, so to speak. Sitting on a chair, breathing, listening, thinking, whatever, feeling stressed, feeling relaxed, whatever seems to happen is just that apparently happening. But the apparently, of course, is it's not important because nothing's important in that way, but it's quite a significant difference, you could say, an apparent difference between what seems to be happening, because it's completely indescribable, very intangible. It has no specific quality because it's not an actual thing that could have a quality. Um, and it's just ungraspable, unknowable, boundless freedom and boundless love. But that's not even a quality that it has, because as I say, it's not an actual thing. And so that's just what appears to be happening. That's the so-called appearance that appears that way. But when you feel like a separate individual, this feels very real. It feels exclusively real, which is why I say, or why it's said that the apparent happening seems to be the whole message, really, we could say. It seems to be quite a significant so-called difference because there is just what appears to be happening. It's just what seems to be going on. And so it doesn't deny that there's what seems to be going on. It doesn't say that there isn't an apparent Zoom meeting seeming to happen. It's what seems to be happening is a body sitting on a chair speaking to a screen, and there seem to be bodies there looking at the screen, listening, and maybe asking questions later on. And that's just what seems to be going on. And that, in and of itself, is naturally whole and complete. It is perfectly satisfied as it is, and it is completely untouchable in its perfection, in that it appears, if you like. So it's inaccessible freedom. It's totally inaccessible because there's absolutely no one and nothing in this. There's just the appearance of a body, the appearance of sitting on a chair, the appearance of talking to a screen, the appearance of listening and looking at the screen, or whatever seems to be happening there. So that's the beginning and the end of it, really. There is no one in this, there never will be, and there is nothing apparently happening. There is no room for an individual in this. So, what this message seems to illuminate simply is that there is already no individual whatsoever. There is no individual ever, and there never has been, and there never will be. So this individual will never collapse or die or fall away because it has never been there to begin with. It just isn't there. It's never born, so it will never die. But for absolutely no reason at all, and it doesn't actually ever happen, what seems to happen or can seem to feel so real at the time is this so-called contracted energy that seems to become an embodied contraction, if you like, that seems to produce this real lived reality sense that I am real and that I am sat on this Zoom call. I am in the body. I am looking out at the screen, and this is me, and this is my life, and everything is real, and there is life happening to me. And all this really seems to be is a contracted energy that seems to produce a sense of location. That's all it really seems to be. And we could describe it in lots of different ways: time, me, individual, whatever, contraction. But all it really just seems to be is a contracted energy that produces or is this sense of location. And when there seems to be a sense of location, there seems to be a here and there seems to be a there. And the funny thing is, the amazing thing is that the here is never actually there at all. It's not even there. It doesn't ever happen. But of course, when it feels so real, it feels that it is happening and it needs to collapse for there to be no here and there. But the amazing thing is this is a total illusion. It's a total dream that there is a here. It's a dream that there is a here. And it's not an actual dream even, so you can't even get your claws into that because it's not an actual dream that will collapse or be seen through. There is no dream. The dream is that there is a dream. And so, if you like, what can just seem to be heard, not by you, of course, but just by nothing, we could say, and no one, this can just be heard that there's no here. And it can just be heard and seen and recognized, again, not by you, by nothing or no one, which of course isn't an actual person. It makes it sound as if it is, and the person will always interpret it as if it is, but it just can be heard literally by nothing that there is no here already. And with that, the seeming sense of it being a real here can just crumble and melt. And it's only then you could say, is it recognized or clearly just seen that there is just no here? It's impossible for there to be here. And in the end, all the so-called here was just a contraction, just a contracted tense energy in the body. And that neurotic contracted energy can just seem to melt away for no reason at all. And it can just be clear that it was all it was just an energy. And that's all there is, energy. So how far a contraction actually dissolves into boundlessness is obviously, it doesn't, because that is just boundlessness contracting. So it's just what seems to be happening with energy then, and it doesn't matter and it doesn't happen to anyone. Yeah. But after that, we can have a chat maybe and see what comes up. Obviously, there are no actual questions in that way, and there are no real answers, but we can just seem to have a dialogue maybe and see what happens. Looks like we've got one in the chat. So somebody said, what is the difference between what is apparently happening and the usual everyday reality? Well, there's no difference. That's the wonderful thing. That's the surprise, if you like, upon the recognition that this is all there is. So the so-called everyday reality is what's apparently happening. It's not hidden. It's really not hidden. What appears to be happening is what appears to be happening. It's not hidden. It's impossible for it to be hiding. Nothing is hiding. It's everything. It's being looked at right now. It is the looking. It is the sitting. It is the asking the question. It's everything. And that's as I say, that's the gorgeousness, if you want to go that far, is that what appears to be happening and what is truly longed for is this. It is the ordinary reality, is what is most deeply, desperately longed for by the separate individual, is this. Just sitting on a chair, listening to Zoom, chatting to one another. That is what is most yearned for by the individual and what all the fuss is about. It's this. It's right here. It's really not hiding. But when you feel like an individual and there seems to be this contraction in the body, this is not it. This is not comfortable. This is not enough. There has to be something else. And there isn't. Yeah. So there's nowhere else for the special to be. That's the wonderful thing. This is the special. If it has to be anywhere, it has to be this. It can't be anywhere else.
Izzy, the me tries to see specialness in everything, doesn't it? I was walking around the golf course yesterday and the sun was shining, and it was almost like the grass was. It was a beautiful day, and it was almost like the grass was luminous, And the me energy wants to see some significance in that. It wants
Yeah.
something special and something. Everything has to be, oh, that's significant, or it seems to want to put certain things, make certain things stand out as different or better or of value, or I don't know what that word significant just came to mind. Instead of just seeing the grass, it suddenly became significant that it was so luminous or something, which is bullshit, really.
Yeah, I mean, it is bullshit in that way because, of course, something like that, it doesn't mean there can't just be a sense of, oh, that's lovely or that's wonderful or whatever. But
Yeah.
like you say, for the person, it's something more. It's like everything has meaning and something, it has
Yeah.
to have meaning. It has significance. It's everything is on a hierarchy for the person or a spectrum, whichever way. It's the same thing, which we could say is the spectrum of time and space in that way, because everything is ordered in its place. And really, it's not the grass that's standing out, actually. It's me that stands out or feels it stands out. And so me projects itself onto everything. So the standing out really comes from the sense of individuality. The grass is already just grassing.
Yeah,
But the
it kind of
individual
actually even.
projects the significance onto it.
Yeah, and that all that significance actually, in a sense, takes away from it, from the just beautiful grass.
Yeah, exactly, because it has to be something. It has to
Yeah,
be beautiful or be more significant than it is, or significant for me, or I have to
yeah.
remember it or hold on to it somehow or whatever. Yeah.
Mm. It's just wired up.
Mm.
Again, there was a famous saying that the mind can make a heaven of a hell and a hell of a heaven. It's just very much like that,
Mm.
All there is grass.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So
Yeah, it's amazing because if there's a peak experience in the individual's world, let's say, or a lovely, relaxing experience, it's never enough then. It's still not enough. And then if there's a hellish, deep suffering or horrible experience, it wants to then get back to the peak experience. But when it was having the peak experience wasn't enough. So it's just, it
Yeah.
never wins.
Yeah, and I think, as you said before, if it doesn't have its biggest problem is that there isn't one.
Mm.
And if it doesn't have a problem to focus on, it literally, it's almost like, let me find something,
Mm.
let me
Mm.
find something to worry about.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, that this is problemless is panic for the person. The person needs problems because that's what it is. So without a problem, there's no me.
never thought about that.
Because the person is the sense of the problem, and the person is the energy to work out the problem and solve the problem. So if there's no problem, there's nothing for you to do, and there is no you. So yeah, the problem person sort of wants to have no problems, but actually when it's confronted with a problemless reality, it's terrified.
Yeah, it doesn't like it.
No.
Mm. I gotta go and find a problem. Oh, thank you, Izzy.
Thanks, David. Yeah, the amazing thing is, and I think actually I always could sense this, that I was doing this somehow, that even on a Zoom call, when there was someone clearly saying there is no problem, the person just looks for the problem in that. And yeah, most of the time I was probably sort of hypnotized by that. But I think there were a few times where it was very clear that I was creating the problems.
I mean, a few weeks ago, I think I said to you before, I was dodging a couple of financial bullets, as it were, and I thought, when if I can just get through this, just get through this week and get this and this and got it, and everything got sorted out, and I'm standing going, I don't feel any better. I don't feel any different. In fact, I feel quite stressed that I don't have. It's almost like it gave me a reason to feel anxious, and now I just feel anxious without a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because
Yeah.
there seems for the person that there seems to be this, the body seems to have this contracted, embodied contraction. And so the story seems to reassure that in many ways, you could say, because there's a story that seems to go along with it of what the problem is and what the anxiety is about. But then, as you say, when the story can collapse or momentarily stop, then there just seems to be this horrible contraction in the body. And there's like, well, what do I do with this? So then the seeking then goes on to try and resolve the contraction. But actually, of course, the problem isn't, there's never going to find the so-called problem is the seeming contraction in the body, not the resolution that's hoped for in the story.
Yeah, it's almost like I need to go and look. If I'm still feeling anxious, there must be something else. If I've sorted all that out, there must be something else now that's causing that. So I got to go
Yeah.
and find that and sort that. And that's, I
Mm.
think you said it before, that almost lays out a roadmap for your life, for the life of the individual, because
Oh yeah.
it's just going from one so-called issue to another, or one so-called problem to another.
I mean, the exactly, and the so-called problem, the real dilemma for the person is that the problems, the so-called problems, are not in the things. It's not to do with the finances. It's not to do with the work. It's not to do with whatever else, the relationships, whatever else seems to be the projection, the problem. To put it bluntly, the problem is you. That's the problem. And so, but the problem with that is that you can't get rid of yourself. So that's the so-called dilemma for the person.
Yeah.
So all that can seem to happen is that those so-called problems out there will never go away in that way. They're never even there, actually. But the whole life of you can just collapse. And that's what we speak about in terms of liberation.
And it's shit all the way up until until that, and that doesn't even happen.
Exactly. It's a total anticlimax. Yeah, massive. I mean, that's an understatement. Yeah, it's a huge. It's the only and the biggest and the only anticlimax ever, really.
What? Sorry, say that again.
Well, it's the only and the biggest anticlimax that really exists. There's this whole towards the event, and then nothing happens. I mean, it's wonderful. All that drama for nothing, literally.
You just watching Netflix, you get up to go to the bathroom and oh,
Yeah, nothing. Literally one massive explosion of nothing.
what the fuck? Why did I come to this? I know. Oh dear. If there's an outside person looking at this, they'd just think this was crazy, wouldn't
Yeah, it is. For the
you? I mean,
person, this is crazy in a way, but actually seen from this, it's just natural, it's normal. What's crazy is actually someone sitting there and saying, I'm me, I have a life. That's crazy. No, really, I mean it. It is, because it's impossible for anyone to have a life. It's impossible for a body. It's just impossible for there to be anyone in here. There
yeah,
isn't.
yeah. I was thinking about that yesterday. What would a me consist of? If
Yeah.
there's something in there, what would it? If you sort of dug in there, where would you find it? What is this? What's it made of? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's sort of almost like, is it in there? Is it in there? Could you find it? What would it? No one's ever found one.
No, exactly. This is hollow. It's totally hollow. There's nothing inside. Well, obviously there's, organs and I hope anyway.
I get that.
But well, who knows? Maybe not. But apparently there's organs and that inside, but there's no one in here and there's no one in there.
Okay.
Mm.
Thanks as always.
Thanks, David. Hopefully that was useful. Useful as ever.
Hey Izzy, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Hopefully the background noise isn't too bad. Um, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a bit muffled, but I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm in my
No, it's
car.
okay.
Um, so um, the individual longs for the story to be over,
Hmm.
and yet when it gets these breaks, as you were saying with David, um, then just the contraction is left, and it doesn't long for that. So, so that's the crux. Like, why is the thing that I'm longing for the most the thing that's hurting the most? I
Yeah,
mean, that's a story, of course, but
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Because there's nothing wrong with the contracted energy. That's the thing. It doesn't hurt in that way. But of course, can be very seemingly painful for the person because when you feel like that's you feel you're in there experiencing a contracted energy, or that's actually what you feel you are in a way, because the individual is the sense of being here, which is the contracted energy. So when this seems to collapse and it's just recognized that there's no one in there just then seems to be a very contracted, tense body, which can just seem to gradually and gently, or maybe dramatically and suddenly, just open up and cleanse and purge of all of the sort of tightness and contraction inside. But it's, it may seem to involve like crying and tingling and shouting and screaming and laughing and whatever seems to arise in order for that contraction to open, but it's not painful and it's not a problem and it doesn't hurt in that way because there's no one experiencing it.
It's yeah, there's some physical pain, but that's not what you're talking about. There's no subject of the physical pain, and so it's just pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, this can seem to have quite a dramatic so-called effect on the body, for sure. I mean, there can seem to be pain, aches and pains as this sort of tension may seem to open. But yeah, like you say, there's just no subject. There's no witness of that. So there's no dramatic story about how bad it is and when's it going to end and what it means and da-di-da-di-da. It's just another thing that seems to happen.
Oh, yeah. I guess it has the tendency to carry with it the sense of a background. And you've spoken about background and foreground in the last couple weeks. Because the story's going, and then it stops, and then blah, all that sensation. And it's like the mind can mistake that, the person mistakes that often for the background, something happening sort of behind the scenes, which only sort of comes to the surface when the story subsides. But
yeah.
I mean, again, I know story.
No, I know what you mean though. And of course, it really feels like that for the person, because for the person, it feels like, and we could say as a story, we could say that actually the illusion of being me and the sense of being me is, as I say, this contraction. And that's what it doesn't actually seem to hold anything in, because the sense of being me is the holding in. It's not holding anything in, it is the holding in. And so when that sense of being me seems to collapse or is recognized it's not there, there's no one holding it in anymore. And there's no holding in because there's nothing to hold in and there's nothing to hold on to. So the body just seems to naturally open. And it's indescribable. And this is the sort of process or whatever that seems to be happening here and have happened slowly and still be happening slowly. This sort of gradual opening and relaxing of the body, which with it, the sort of remnants and kind of patterns of the story seem to just collapse with that as well. And the sort of shadows of the individual, if you like. But yeah, that's just it's not experience. So there's no benefit to that either at all. Absolutely not. And
Yeah.
it's indescribable.
Yeah. The mind, I don't know, this question just came up spontaneously, like how can a contraction be a contraction and nothing at the same time? But yeah, because it is. I mean, it's
well, how can this Zoom call and you and I chatting be nothing? Like there is just no answer to that.
yeah,
But it just is how it is.
yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah, already. Yeah, as you
Exactly.
mentioned
It's completely
many
empty.
times.
I mean, the drama is the person. That's the thing. So as I say, this sort of this process of what the body seems to unfold and just kind of readjust to there being no one in a way, because the body's been almost behaving as if there is someone, and then it's just recognized there is no one, so the body then sort of seems to take a while to catch up in that way. And so as I say, all sorts of things may seem to happen with the body, but it's just amazing how when there's no story, it's so undramatic in that sense. It's just another happening.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Izzy.
Thanks, Adam. I mean, the thing, of course, all these questions are so impossible to answer, but the thing is, for the person, the body is so important. Not only like, I mean, you know, we could say about superficial things like what I look like, what, you know, what I do, what my health is like, how I'm perceived, who I am, what my role is, blah, blah, blah. But really, all this just comes back to this sense of location, and this sense of location seems to be a contraction in the body. And that's why the body seems to be important for the person, because the body is where I am located. So all these sensations, all these raw, gripping, ripping sensations in the body are just what they are. They don't matter. They only matter because it feels as if I'm experiencing them, and they're horrible and painful for me. But yeah, the body can just wonderfully be itself once it's recognized, or already actually, but if it's just seen that there's no one in it, it doesn't reflect me, there's no self-consciousness. Okay, someone said in the chat, what's the difference between nothing and everyday reality? Well, again, I mean, this sort of is exactly the same as the question you asked earlier, which is that there's no difference. This, the everyday reality, is nothing. That is this. So there's no difference between everything. I mean, really, what seems to be sort of attempted to be done in this question almost, and the one earlier, is like that there is nothing and boundlessness and freedom and emptiness and fullness that Izzy talks about. And then there's the everyday reality of just sitting on Zoom and, oh God, you know, the relative. And then Izzy's talking about the ultimate, and I need to get to the ultimate, and this relative is so not it. And this is what's is amazing about this message, is that this is it. The relative is the ultimate. It's this. They're the same thing. There is no bigger ultimate. There is no more magical or mystical thing. This is the most magical and mystical thing and spiritual and wonderful and da 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 you could ever think of. It's this. There's nothing else. It's literally, you're staring at it right now. Well, maybe not me, but I'm not the ultimate. But yeah, this is it. The ordinary is nothing being everything.
Sorry, can I speak?
Hi, Moira. Yeah, go for it.
Hiya. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm a bit confused at the moment because I've had someone come round and there's things need done on the house, and I'm overwhelmed by it, and I feel completely bad because of it. It's going to cost a lot of money. I don't know if I want to do it. Loads of stuff. Awful. But yesterday, I feel like this. I got really intense with the OCD thing yesterday, where I was changing something. I kept changing it, and I got really obsessive about kind of minor details, and having to take this thing back and changing it. And that happened, and it got really bad, really intense, really full on and intense. And that was really, took it to the extreme. And I was on a bus again, contained in this bus with all this intense emotion and all this intense, really, really intense. And I was on my way back to change it again, but I had to go on this bus for an hour, and that was so intense. And it was like, I could see, I had this, in the end, that was, something was like, as clear that you can't get closer to or further away from, it was like it's done. There was a moment where it's like it's done. Because you can't get closer or further away. And it was just like, but there was the intensity, all this that's going on at the same time. And I don't know, it just kind of broke through it, I think, in a way, because it was so intense, maybe, I don't know. But anyhow, that happened. And it's like something's pulling me into things where I think it's going towards something, but this was clear that you can't, that's not gonna, this is not, I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Because there can seem to be almost, it sounds as if there can seem to be, and of course this is a story, mind, but there can seem to be a recognition by, not by you, but by nothing, if you like, or just a recognition, let's say, to not complicate it, that this is all there is. There is no here and there. This isn't going anywhere. There is no closer. And so that there can, when in those sort of moments for the individual or whatever, there can almost sort of be a recognition of that. And that can kind of then feel like a background maybe or whatever, or not even a background. It can just almost feel like there's a recognition that this is it. And yet there's still this pulling energetically to get something else. And that
Yeah, but I knew that the getting something else weren't going to
exactly.
result in anything that weren't already there. But I was just going with it by that point and just going through the process, I suppose, because I couldn't stop it anyhow.
Exactly. And what can just seem to happen is with that recognition that it's not going anywhere, that like gnawing in the body can just seem to fade because
But
it's
there weren't two things. That was the
exactly.
thing was that, nothing
Yeah.
changed. But
but because this contraction doesn't then seem to be resisted anymore, it can just seem to sort of melt away because it, as you say, it's just recognized that that's this too.
Yeah, because I was in a contained situation again where I couldn't escape it anyhow, and it was intense. That was at its peak, and I couldn't escape, and I couldn't do anything there. I couldn't. There was nothing you could do, with this feeling that was completely full on, without freaking out or something. And I weren't going to do that because I didn't need to do that, but it was contained and at its peak basically. So but today I've got all this stuff going on, and all this stuff with this house coming upon me and stuff, and I don't know if it's because I'm not contained, because I can escape, I suppose, or maybe I don't know, or because it ain't full on, that it's all becoming a deluge on me, or the problems are, that's not the same, thing's not happening, it's not the same.
And then the so-called problem for the individual is there may seem to be an experience, for want of a better word, of that sort of just raw, pure contraction with no one in it, just a raw, pure, embodied contraction, as what appears to be happening, and like maybe on the bus or whatever. And then the next day, as you say, there may then just be a trying to get back to that, or what is this then? Like, this isn't as raw, or it's not as da da da. So this then is just whatever. I mean, it's just what seems to be happening then. It's just then wanting that to happen again.
Well, I'm comparing
exactly,
with that, and I just don't know how to deal with this, because unless I'm in this really OCD state where it's really at its peak, I don't seem to break through. But I don't know if I'm making that up. I probably am, aren't I?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, who knows? But
the energy seemed to be like that. The energy seemed to be working that way.
I mean, only as a story, of course, but this had a very similar thing with OCD and stuff like that, and very, very intense sort of energy in the body, and this OCD that seemed to be that energy, and that's how it seemed to come out here. And in those sort of time towards the end or whatever, when this was triggered, so to speak, this would seem to, a lot of things would seem to be moving in the body, let's say, because this really contracted energy seemed to be completely triggered by whatever it was triggered by.
That seemed to be more in me, that thing. But when I'm left with this house problem, the OCD is not working with that, and I just can't cope with that. I don't think. I don't know. The OCD seems to be a function that's pushing me to the limits, and that don't happen when I try to deal with ordinary day-to-day problems that I've got with this house. I can't cope with it. I just want to run away or not bother with it, not deal with it. But I mean, you can't help me there with that, I don't suppose.
I'm afraid
I don't
not.
know. It's just this man's been round and give me all these quotes for this house work that need done, and he's worried me by telling me all these things about the house that are a problem and stuff, and he's just filled my head up with stuff, and it's yeah, that'll wear off once I get away from it. But I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying? I don't know.
Oh, well, nor do I. So there we go.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed. Huh?
Nor do
Yeah,
I.
I think
Yeah.
I'm annoyed with this man putting all these problems on me in this house. But anyhow, all right. I just was that thing with the yeah. I could see you couldn't get closer or further away, so that was like done. This is done. But it's so why isn't it done then? You know what I mean? Because it's not done as like a thing, is it? It's just already is
Exactly.
done, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you could
But
say it's done when
but
there's no one left asking if it's done or wondering if it's done.
yeah, there was no one there when this happened. This was me. It got so intense. I don't know what happened to it. That was just contained, and it couldn't. Yeah, it disappeared, I suppose. And
Because exactly, that's the
no,
amazing thing. It just does disappear, and there's no one then to benefit from that or know that it's gone. So when there seems to no longer be anyone, or this seeming sense of me seems to die, there's no one there sort of being like, oh, I've died. That's great that I'm not here. Da da da. Or have I died? Am I not here? It's just not a thing. It just doesn't
no,
come up. It does not come up as an issue. So
but
there's
this is
no question.
energetic, isn't it? I mean, this was energetic for sure.
Oh yeah,
The thing that drives me is energetic completely.
exactly.
But when it goes, that's just yeah, like you said, that's not a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyhow, I don't know where I'm at the moment. I just want to. I don't know where I'm at the moment. No. Okay.
Oh,
I want to do something, but I can't. You know, like make it have some influence on the
yeah. I mean, that's what
situation.
every so-called individual on the call will want to make me go away. That's what every person is trying to do, so to speak. The individual is trying to get rid of me, which is the same as saying that me is trying to get rid of itself.
Yeah, but at the moment, me is not me. Me is not there. Me is the problems with the house and the house problems. That's not me. I don't even know what me is. Me is those problems which have become a thing at the moment. That's what
you could say
me
so,
is at the
yeah.
moment. Yeah, there is no me other than that, and these problems. Yeah, I'm wanting to influence the problems, not, and that is the same as me. That isn't what you're calling me, isn't it? Okay. I can't do anything. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Moira.
Right. Okay.
Take care now.
Yeah, I'll try. Thank you.
Oh, bye.
All right. Bye. I can mute me. Did I mute me? Or have you done?
You've done it yourself. Yeah, that's all good. Thanks. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's gone, Saeed. You go first. There's one in the chat, but you go.
Okay. I was just something came up that kind of helped me, like what Mara was saying, and like we know that okay, there's no landing place. There is no. No, I understand, but there's no like answer, and intellectually, it's kind of the whole thing is kind of understood, and there is no one. I will never get. There's no experience. There'll be no landing place. There's no all that, and then this mind is quite tricky. And then there's a belief, expectation, or a belief that something will happen because I know all this. Because there's nothing will happen because this inside the box, and then outside the circle you have the belief that something, this has to, then something should happen.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
think if one can see that belief is also just one of those thoughts that kind of has no value, no value in it. It has no step that he can take. And that, I think that kind of makes it quite easy for that contraction, because that belief is also is kind of not there. So just yeah, just
Yeah.
wanted to share that.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, obviously, as I've said before, that the individual, the sense of individuality is not just a belief. So it really doesn't matter if there's a belief or not of me or no me or whatever, because the sense of individuality just seems to be an energetic sense. It's indescribable. You can't touch it, you can't see it, you can't know it. It's not actually there, but it seems to be an energetic sense that I'm here, sat on this call right now, that I'm here. There's a presence here.
Yeah.
So whatever beliefs seem to come out of that, there seems to be all sorts of beliefs that will seem to come out of that as a story. But ultimately, the sense of individuality is a contracted energy that seems to give rise to the sense, or be the sense, that I am on this call right now. There is someone sat on this chair. It's just a feeling, not a feeling like an emotion. It's just a sense that I am here. There's just an intangible sense of here-ness. And the amazing thing is that what this message says is that however intangible or not, it's just not there at all. The sense of being here is an illusion. There is no here. There is just this, and there's no sense of just this. There's no sense of anything. So yeah, I can't remember the first part of your question. I was going to respond to that, but yeah, there's just
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was saying that all what you just said, that's all, like, for me, it's clear. And then there's still this expectation or a belief that okay, this then, and
Yeah.
that I feel like, was my opinion, that still keeps me contracted in a sense that, okay, there's no one here, and that's like intellectual. And because there's no one here, because this, because that, and then the belief says, well, then something needs to happen. You believe in that whole intellectual knowing of yours, and then if I feel that if one can see that belief is also not important in any sense. It's just like one of those thoughts that's already are, like nothing gonna happen, and those are just thoughts. And that kind of
But again, the thing
makes
is,
it easy.
the expectation of something to happen, again, it's not just a belief. That's the thing. The expectation of something to happen is this embodied, contracted not thisness, which seems to create the feeling and the energetic sense that something is going to happen. So again, it doesn't matter if there are beliefs that something has to happen or that something doesn't have to happen, because the individual is the contracted sense that something has to happen, and it's nothing to do with the words. So yeah, it doesn't matter if there's words going on of something needs to happen or not, because at the end of the day, you know, there could be a story of nothing needs to happen, nothing needs to happen, nothing needs to happen. But that doesn't matter, because what we're talking about is the end of the story completely. The end of the story of something having to happen or not having to happen. There's just no story anymore. And the thing is, for the person would really feel as if all of these intellectual insights and knowledge and thoughts and whatever, and beliefs, or maybe probably beliefs breaking down and thoughts breaking down, it really feels as if, because I understand all that, something will happen, almost as like a reward for kind of being a good non-dual student. You know, I really get this message, so surely it will happen to me because I really get it. Actually, the amazing thing is if you really got it, you wouldn't be asking a question. I mean, it's wonderful irony in that sense, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks, Izzy.
Thanks, Zane. Okay, I'll answer this one in the chat. So, you deny certain aspects of the usual everyday reality. Okay. Well, I mean, straight away, nothing, absolutely nothing is denied. That's the wonderful thing about this message, but I'll carry on anyway. You deny certain aspects of the usual everyday reality, but then you say it's exactly the same as the nothing you are talking about. It is exactly the same. In fact, it's not even exactly the same. It is the nothing. The everyday is nothing. That is what it is. It's not the same, because that implies, again, that there's two, that there's the everyday reality and there's nothing, and that they are either the same or they're different, or they're denying that it's this or that, or blah, blah, blah. But they're the same thing. Indescribable aliveness. They're the same. They are not even the same, because there's not two. But it's, yeah, words can't touch it. So for example, why do you deny time and causality when they are such basic aspects of what is apparently happening? A world without time would be very different, it seems. I mean, well, again, look, this does not deny anything. Absolutely nothing is denied. This is unconditionality. This is unconditional love. That is what is being suggested here, and that is what appears to be happening. So nothing is denied, and this has certainly never denied time and causality, because time and causality do not exist. So they can't be denied. Something that doesn't exist cannot be denied, nor can it be accepted. There just is no time. There is no causality. So actually, I'm afraid it's worse than denying it. This doesn't deny it. It just doesn't acknowledge it as being real or being anything at all. But of course, we could then say that time appears to happen or whatever. Izzy looks at the clock and it's lunchtime. She looks at the clock and it's the afternoon and goes on a walk or whatever. That's what seems to be happening. But what we're really talking about is a sense of time, which there just isn't one. There is no sense of time. There is no time. What appears to be happening is causeless, timeless freedom already.
Is there no sense of location at all now?
No.
That's sort of what goes, if you like, if in the apparent going.
Yeah.
Just the sense of that there's a location somewhere.
Exactly. There is absolutely no sense of here anywhere. That's the amazing thing. There is no here. And so when you feel like an individual, obviously the here feels that it's in the body, that it's here. But then for the person can only imagine another here. So it thinks, okay, when there's not a here in the body, then there's probably just an everywhere here, a here that is everywhere. And that then kind of goes into the awareness sort of thing, like there is just everything and there's a sense of everything. But the amazing thing, the magical thing, is that there is no here, there is no location at all. It's unlocated. But that can't be, you can't be conceived. It just, you can't imagine that. It's unimaginable.
I don't know. When I think of that awakening that I had 20 years ago, which is still vividly in my mind, there was no location there for that. And the mind can't make sense of that, and can't. But there's a sense of, as you said that there's just a sense of what that was like. That there wasn't a location, there wasn't a place, there wasn't another place, and there just wasn't any location. Was an absolute. It was a non sequitur or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, it just disappears.
Wow.
But the problem for the person is it can only ever comprehend here, whether it's my here or your here or another here or a here that's everything. It can only think and feel and know in positions. And this is positionless freedom. If it had a location, it would be bound to something. There would have to be a center from which, like, of which it all was gathered. But this is boundlessness. There's no center.
There's no center, there's no periphery, there's the words don't even, there's no
No.
words that can even be put forward to even be denied, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
not-
Yeah, exactly. It's indescribable how unlimited this is. It's indescribable.
Yeah.
It's energetic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thanks, Izzy.
Thanks, David. Okay, we've probably got time for one more question, maybe, if someone wants to.
What's in your Amazon box, Izzy? Can I ask?
Oh, that box.
Am I really awful? That box, I get Amazon boxes come here all the time, and Izzy needs to unpack that box. It's been. I think it's not
Wow.
an Amazon box.
It's
but,
not,
I
it's
always-
actually not an Amazon box. It's not, I'm afraid. No, it's not. I was just packing up some of my things, but now I'm probably going to be unpacking it and it just hasn't got round to it.
That box is always there.
I know,
Sorry.
no, I'm sorry. It's not a very sexy backdrop, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, that box doesn't have a location either, so.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know why it came to my mind today. I was just thinking about the Zoom meeting, and I thought, what was in that box?
Oh, it's the mystery box, I'm afraid. It's the mystery box.
Oh dear.
Left deal or no deal with it. I mean, that's quite a funny analogy, actually, we could say, in terms of non-duality. Of course, it's like looking in the box and thinking, what's in there? There's gonna be something in there. There's gotta be something in there. It's gonna be amazing, unconditional love. And just finding out there's nothing in the box. Oh. There's just nothing in the box. Nothing.
What is it? That Kung Fu Panda, the secret sauce was the secret was there wasn't one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all this is. It's just finding out that there is nothing, literally. It's an underwhelming freedom.
Such an anticlimax.
It is. It's such an anticlimax. Massively. Yeah. It's amazing. The person's whole life, it's been searching something. It looks in the box, it finally gets a peek, and there's nothing. Yeah.
Some night you're gonna go, "What? There's nothing in the box." Oh dear, that's fun.
Mhm.
I love it. Thanks again, Izzy.
Thanks, David.
Always entertaining.
Oh, yeah, it's good
And,
laugh.
you know, yeah, well, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't need to be, but sure, it certainly makes a difference. You know, it's lovely. There's a lovely lightness, you know. It's a bit of I think things get taken with a bit of pinch of salt, as they say, you know, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks, David.
So that box won't be there next week. It'll be
Well,
unpacked.
no, it
and put away.
won't be there. No, it'd be worse than nothing. It just won't be there.
Oh dear.
No, it will be there. It definitely will be there. Let's not beat around the bush. It will be there.
It's always there. It's like my son's bedroom. It just never gets sorted.
Yeah, exactly.
He's always going to do it, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I say to my mum too.
Yeah, he's about your age, and it's kind of like, yeah, I must get that done, Dad. And it never gets done.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I think we'll probably leave it there then. We've done an hour. So, yeah, well, of course, like we've said all along on the meeting, this is all there is. Thank you for the hearts, guys. There is nothing else. There never will be anything else. And oh, more hearts. And yeah, this is it. This is the boundless freedom that is longed for. Everything that you are looking for, and the freedom, the love, the magic, the wonder, the everything, the boundlessness that is being longed for is this. It's this. It's sitting on a chair, listening to Izzy on Zoom and laughing and asking a question and having a chat and getting annoyed and getting frustrated or feeling joy and feeling great. It's all of it. It's everything. It doesn't deny anything, because what appears to be happening is everything already for no one. It's already how it is. No one will ever die. No one will ever fall away, because it's already simply this. Yeah. That's just, yeah, full stop. Yeah, but thank you so much for coming, guys. Thanks, Ben, for the heart as well. Yeah, the next meeting is on Wednesday, and then there will be another one on Friday, as usual, again after last week, and then I'll be announcing the ones for July after that. But for now, yeah, the 3 this week. But thank you for coming. Nice to see you all, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Izzy. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Beautiful, Izzy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.